Namaste, beautiful souls. Today we have gathered here to celebrate Ayurveda Day with very eminent Dr. Vasudha. Where we, so today we'll try to understand what led Government of India to have a dedicated day for Ayurveda and how Ayurveda can change today's modern fast-paced life. So welcome, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, before we begin, I understand earlier Dhanteras was National Ayurveda Day or National Ayurveda Day also because it's also celebrated internationally. So why we first of all moved to 23rd of September being Ayurveda Day, and what led Government of India to have a dedicated day to acknowledge Ayurveda in our life?
Namaste everyone. Now we are very glad to be here today on Ayurveda Day. Well, the first question comes as Adhya was just asking, why is it today? So, well, we have been celebrating Dhanteras, but as you know, the days have been rolling, the dates have been changing. So, it's very important for achieving the focus on Ayurveda. We have to have a dedicated day, and that's how 23rd September was designated. This is the first year where we have designated this, and we are also celebrating this. And the major reason is because today is the day where it's the equinox, so you have the day and the night equal, and that's how it is celebrated. We know that internationally Yoga Day has been chosen as June 21st. Likewise, today is a very, very auspicious day, and that's how it is. And be it for all Indians, it's Navaratri, it is day 2 of Navaratri, and why not? So this is how we pick 23rd September, and it's important for us to, as professionals, as people who follow Ayurveda, to also ensure that the goodness of Ayurveda is spread across the globe, because it's the science which carries a lot of preventive methods. And what is it today? We see surge in lifestyle disorders. When you look at the global population, where even Ayurveda definitely talks about swasthasya swastha rakshanam. So swastha is a person who needs to be healthy.
Okay.
So a healthy person's health is also preserved. That's the basic and foremost idea of what Ayurveda preaches. And aturasya vikara prashavanam. Atura is a patient or a person with a health condition, medical condition. And the person has also remedial measures which Ayurveda suggests. So this is a larger bracket in which Ayurveda talks about prevention and management.
So ma'am, for youth, for today's youth, how you can make us understand that Ayurveda is much more beyond than just herbal medicine that what have been perceived over the years?
See, if you look at the definition, Ayurveda, so if we just divide it into two words, it means Ayuhu, which is life, Veda, which is science. That says it all. That is actually the science of life. So why do you say it is just not herbal medicine? It is just herbs that are part of it. So we talk about different herbs like Brahmi, Ashwagandha, Shatavari. Now everybody has started knowing. During COVID, people wanted to go and buy Ashwagandha tablets. So this is how they start understanding what Ayurveda. So let's talk about it as a pretext to maybe start somewhere. But Ayurveda is a lot beyond herbs alone, right? So we talk about various lifestyle norms, be it waking up in the morning till what you do, when you up till the night. So this process is explained as dinacharya. So we have a lot of preventive measures. In that comes dinacharya, rutucharya, sadvrutta. There are so many things like this where we talk about what all can you do to prevent. Because that's what we said. Swasthasya, swasthya rakshanam.
So ma'am, for people who are listening, joining this podcast, if you can just give top 3 or 5 daily routine habits or dincharya habits that we can easily incorporate in our lives, and of course then slowly move towards adapting more good habits related to Ayurveda.
Right. See, there are many, like we wake up in the morning and then there are various steps. Okay, how do you brush your teeth? What do you do? And how do you do oil pulling? What oil do you use? And then comes, what time do you take breakfast? And when do you do your vyayama or yoga? When do you take bath? So on and so forth. There is big list available. So it's a beautiful science. Dinacharya itself is a science. But the 3 top things I would say is one about waking up. Okay, so waking up mornings, early mornings, when we say at least within a bracket of around 6 o'clock, will always be very useful for maintaining the biological rhythm, because the body is connected to the universe or to the nature. So we always should be in sync with the nature, and therefore you see when the morning starts, you see the birds chirping, you see that nature is very, very active in the morning. So that's the same way the body also works. So this is point number one. Second, what I observe is the food time. So you also have to know when to take food, especially lunch. So Ayurveda recommends that take your meal, the biggest meal, during the phase where the sun is the brightest. Okay. So because the digestion is more faster, and it does not dilute your digestion or your digestive enzymes. So this is something which people do not understand. They think I can have my lunch at either 11 o'clock or I can have it around 3 o'clock. So maybe the moderate bracket would be around 12ish, because all of us know that the sun is at its best heat, especially. So we talk about Agni in the body. So the heat outside has to complement the heat inside, and we definitely have to balance the Agni or our metabolism, and that's where we can prevent lot of health problems. That's the primary, root cause for different problems. And the third would be sleep time, sleep hygiene. So we do one in the morning, one in the afternoon, and one in the night. So sleep hygiene, we know, is definitely getting a little haywire these days, and it's about sleep routine as well. So we recommend that you sleep maximum by 10 p.m. because a 10 p.m. to a 5:30 a.m. will be a very nocturnal, and Ayurveda lays lot of importance on this, and the whole dinacharya is actually based on this clock.
Ma'am, since you touched upon food, I'm sure there are many viewers who would have this question. What does Ayurveda has to say about intermittent fasting? Is it just a fad, or is it something really good that people should adapt to in their lives?
See, Ayurveda doesn't describe intermittent fasting. Okay, so it's just come out from somewhere, but what we describe is different ways to eat. Okay, so we would not call it as an intermittent fasting that stay without food for like 10 hours, 8 to 11 hours, or 8 to 12 hours. So what I just mentioned is what we have to connect to food. So say if we are sleeping around 10 o'clock, what Ayurveda recommends, what is your evening time around sunset? So 6 o'clock, around 6 on an average. So between say 11 to 12 you have your lunch, and around 6ish you have your dinner. You sleep around 10 o'clock, and then wake up in the morning. You start with warm water, they talk about different steps, then comes something to eat will definitely come. So it's about the kind of clock you try and maintain.
So basically it's dincharya, having a good dincharya would definitely lead to having intermittent fasting, but Ayurveda does not necessarily.
So Ayurveda necessarily promotes 2 meals as the best. They also say 3 meals is okay, and it depends on the age group. So it's it's actually very, very nice to understand how they mention. 1 meal is also recommended, 2 is also recommended, 3 is also recommended. Now how? It's the age group. It's based on health condition. So they're very clear. If a person is pregnant, has any health condition, please do not follow 1 meal and 2 meal, try to take 3 meals. So they're very clear. And this is where it's very close to our tradition, but we should not leave our tradition, but understand our tradition, because there's a lot of science around it. That's very important.
These days there's a term OMAD, 1 meal a day. Is it derivative from Ayurveda? People have taken it from Ayurveda, or people are just to lose weight, they are adapting to such routines?
See, finally it is mentioned in Ayurveda. I don't think people are aware that it is mentioned, right? So
that's why we have Ayurveda.
And they think that it has come from the West, and Western nutrition, Western methodology of food is something which is so new. 1 meal a day, we never knew this, but it is known. It's just that we have forgotten our roots, and we as professionals, I think, have to play a greater role in ensuring that it reaches more people.
And with the right information and knowledge.
Yeah, true.
Ma'am, one question that even I had, because coming from a family which may or may not have the right knowledge around Ayurveda, and I think this is a misconception, a myth, please help us understand. It's usually taken that Ayurveda or Ayurvedic medicines or Ayurvedic root usually takes a longer term to cure anything or see some significant or substantial result. Is it true, or is it just because Western medicine is just too fast for us, or we have learned how Western medicine works? What is it?
See, Ayurveda is slow, is a myth.
Okay.
Okay, so we underline that statement. So it is not slow, it is dependent on the problem. A person comes with a manifestation of a problem with chronicity, then it takes time. A person comes, say, with these common problems such as arthritis, especially rheumatoid arthritis or osteoarthritis of the knee. There is chronicity involved. When the problem is longer with the person, which is what we define as being chronic, then the person needs definitely a lot of time to heal himself or herself. Then for a little longer duration, and an osteoarthritis knee is right now something which cannot get a 100% solution. That means to say it is not 100% reversible, but it is manageable. But when it is early onset, it is reversible. So there are many things like this. Is it an early stage problem? Is it a mid-level problem? Is it a very chronic problem? So the results are based on this. Now you come with fever, cold, cough, we can also treat you in 3 days. Now we ourselves take those medicines when we are sick at home, or anybody at home, or even in our team. So that's how it works.
Alright, so basically it depends on the problem in hand. Now, one more thing, it's also, I have seen people who are about to go under the knife for surgery for various problems, for open heart disease. I'm not saying that what is right or what is wrong, but usually what people also want to do, maybe can we cleanse our body? Can we do any kind of panch karma before undergoing a knife? What is your thought on that? I mean, how, if I want to take somebody senior from my family, what should be my approach? Should we directly go and go off for a surgery, or should we take a step back and think about our bodies and cleansing them and maybe meet a good Ayurvedic practitioner? Is there a way around such situations that you would suggest?
Right, so surgery, it's an interesting question, but it's something which needs to be answered very specifically, because it depends on the reason behind the surgery. Okay, now suppose your surgery is something related to the stomach itself. Okay, so let's consider that somebody has been diagnosed with some tumor, then this is not the phase where we might recommend an Ayurveda Panchkarma. So, or now if somebody has a minimal invasive surgery, okay, now people are going in for some simple polypectomy or anything related to gynecological disorders. Now in these instances, we would suggest that you do the surgery and then do the cleansing rather than prepare, whereas prepare your mind more so before the surgery by doing regular yoga. So that will immensely help. And post, maybe when the surgical recovery period is over, you can definitely look at taking up cleansing techniques, because it will be a very good step towards preventing the recurrence of the problem.
Okay, I think this makes sense to a lot of people. It makes sense to me because I had a case study in mind which I wanted to discuss, but maybe later. Ma'am, taking a few steps back to the early life, how can parents these days help their kids get involved in Ayurvedic ways of life, and get involved with yoga? How can we incorporate it to the beginning of our life, so that in the coming days we have a better lifestyle and mindset?
Right. So, as you know, it's not easy for kids to get onto something, and especially the moment they see Ayurveda medicines, many of them feel, oh, it's kashaya, or it is the herbal decoction, it's bitter, all this comes up. It's about, I think, convincing. Now I see so many kids at the hospital also. I see as young as a 2-year-old, and I might say as old as a 17-year-old or 18-year-old in the in the children category. So it depends, on the kid also, their liking. Now, some parents come with 2 children. One is very, very fussy in taking Ayurveda, and another one is very easygoing. She can drink the bitterest of the medicine, so that also happens. So this is just on the lighter note, but it's about making it, I think, more so good or receivable to the kids. So there are a lot of different forms, the powders form. So we mix it with honey or water or some other mix, which is needed to blend the medicine to improve the bioavailability of the medicine. Now tablet forms are available, syrup forms are available. So it has become more user friendly. Okay, where needed, we use kashayam. Otherwise, we may not use it for children. And also you have lehyam, which is like Chyawanprash. Lehyams are paste forms. So they are also tasty enough. Some of them have got a very different taste, but you can manage. So I think it's overall about how we can inculcate Ayurveda into their regular lives in terms of medication. And next is routine. So that was the other question. So I think routine is more about dinacharya, that every parent, I think, is striving hard to ensure that the children sleep on time, wake up, and schools being early. At least in Bangalore, we know that they start early. So which is very good. At least they are pushed to wake up whether they like it or not, and that slowly gets into their routine. That's the best part. So I think schools are definitely playing a great role there for the morning routine.
Ma'am, touching upon this, double clicking on the school front, how many schools do you think are adapting to yoga, and how many schools are actually teaching our kids how we have to connect mind, body, soul? And if not, then why aren't schools encouraged to do so more?
So, because of the government of India's, yoga day programs, yoga has been brought in to most of the schools, I would say, in India, as something which is adapted regularly and taught. Many of the schools is a very compulsory program also. So, but when it comes to Ayurveda, I think the momentum has to start. Yes. They have to bring in Ayurveda just as a basic subject, to bring in the discipline in them, to help them understand, like we just spoke, whether it is dinacharya, food habits, and a lot more. And that would definitely help. Just have an hour session every week from an Ayurveda expert, and then that becomes regular. Children do somehow keep listening, so something will get into their mind.
Repetitively, if you've said it enough, they will adapt to it. And I think that is the best stage, and school are the best platforms where we can actively, help kids engage with Ayurveda.
Especially class 1 to 7 is their primary, years. So that point of time, it has to be brought in. See, many schools are bringing out regulations, rules that you're not supposed to send this kind of junk food, whether it is noodles or whether it is something made up of white flour, etc. Some of them do not have regulations. So as maybe something as a rule guide, maybe something is brought in, then it will help the population, because kids are our future. And right now the situation is definitely demanding these changes. Otherwise, future is in trouble.
I remember doing pranayam during my school assembly back in the days, but that was way back. So we have a couple of questions. First of all, we have questions from one of our viewers. What are some common misconceptions people have about Ayurveda?
Okay, yeah, I think one we did talk about. We said that Ayurveda is slow. It is not. Next, one of it I want to discuss here is, they say that Ayurveda has got metals and minerals. So is Ayurveda toxic? We find liver toxicity in Ayurveda. When we take Ayurveda medicines, some of the patients even directly ask when we prescribe, we hear this, is that true? But it is not true. So what you have to know is where to procure the Ayurveda medicines. Not every pharmacy or the manufacturing unit will have standard Ayurveda practices followed. And therefore, you do not just go by the MRP of the medicine. Please do not do that. Please understand which pharmacy or manufacturing unit is following the right manufacturing practices. Do check with your Ayurveda physician on this. Avoid over-the-counter sales. Just don't go and buy wherever you feel like. Do not pop in medicines. Shilajit. Oh, I know that it is very rejuvenative, so I just go buy and take. This is happening very, very frequently, left, right, and center. It's being, it's going on in the market. It's just an example. So likewise, you have to understand this is one important factor when we talk about toxicity. Second, it's also important for you to know that you have to take medicines for a certain period. You just cannot take oh, Ayurveda, I can take it as long as I want. So this is something which you should not have in mind. You have to follow the guidance. Like when you take an antibiotic, you will stop at 5 days or 7 days. And Ayurveda is not like that. People think that we give a 15-day course of prescription. I might write it is for 15 days. What I'm expecting from you at that time is you please come back after 15 days. I'm going to review your prescription and tell you how long you have to take. So many of them say, no, I finished the course, whatever you give. I say, it is not a course. It is just that I've given you for 15 days because I want to see you in 15 days. Your problem demands, me to see you and then review your prescription, because in certain conditions we might stop in 7 days or 15 days, in certain we may not. So some of the top, points which I just got, into my mind now, I think this is what I would like to say on this question.
One more interesting question we have. I have a 3-year-old baby and giving him Swarna Prasana. How long can I continue?
So Swarna Prasana is specifically being inculcated in children to improve their immunity. And we regularly have a particular nakshatra, which is Pushya Nakshatra. Every month, one day is designated, and we suggest that parents get their children for the Swarna Prashana. So it's a mixture which is made with Swarna Bhasma or gold Bhasma. So when I say gold Bhasma, it is a nanoparticle of gold which is highly bioavailable to the body. It is not toxic. So once again, all that manufacturing practices, preparation practices are very important. And when this is done regularly, we see regular and gradual improvement of immunity in children. Especially, when kids go to school or they start going to preschool, every parent is so worried. Oh, this child comes back with fever, cough, cold, and after 15 days again the problem starts. So how do you mitigate this? Regular Swarna Prashana is one of the very good remedies.
That's new to me actually. I think I can recommend it to so many people. Now, one more myth I would like you to burst is how you said that people keep continuing taking medicines or they don't take it for the required amount of time. There's misconception that it's Ayurvedic medicine. Even if you take it longer, it will not harm you. Right? Ayurveda is harmless. So what do you have to say about that? Is it, you can continue it for n number of days and it's harmless. What is it?
See, Ayurveda is harmless. It is not harmful, but you cannot take a number of days. Okay, so there are Charaka Samhita very clearly says that. I'll just give you an example. Like there is a herb called Gugulu. Okay,
yes.
So Gugul is something which is very good, but you're not supposed to take it months together, because after some time, so there is a 3-month period for many herbs like this. After some time, when you take, what happens is the body doesn't respond. Or desired response is not available from your body because you have overdone something. And the herb also is not supposed to be taken after some time because it might cause some problem to you. So that's important.
We are short on time, but I think we can take in one more question. We have, what role does Ayurveda give to mental health and emotional balance?
Yeah, Ayurveda and yoga, they work extremely well together. As a part of understanding, okay, is yoga a part of Ayurveda? It is, definitely. It is also a science on its own, which has been really, taken along and grown specifically as a great science on its own. But Ayurveda texts have also clearly mentioned that when you bring in the yoga practices as a part of the Ayurveda healing, then you can really get great mental balance, physical balance, emotional balance. And it's also important to understand that as a subject matter, Ayurveda talks about Manasika Swasthya. So, Manasika Roga, that means there are many psychological disorders which Ayurveda talks about. And remedial measures include medicine, panchkarma, yoga, given out even when we treat mental health problems, and also a lot of information where they say, okay, how do you manage your right? Vritta is whatever you're doing. So how do you keep your personality? How do you upkeep your mental health? This is on a regular basis. So one was when you have a problem. This is on a regular basis. So for everything, it has 2 divisions. What do you do to be healthy? What do you do to take care if you have a health problem? So definitely a lot of information available, and it's just that we need to explore more
and adapt more as well.
Definitely.
So, ma'am, as a closing statement, would you like to, enlighten us with something about Ayurveda Day or Ayurveda itself? Anything that I did ask or cover? Or
See, I think there are a lot of things which people would be interested, and we will also be very interested to communicate. But we should just understand that this is a very, very deep science, and it's by definition it's for our life. So I think we should just adapt all the small, big nuances which Ayurveda describes to keep ourselves healthy. Because a definition of Ayurveda says hita hitam sukham dukkham. Ayurveda is a science which talks about hita, what is good, what is not good, sukha, dukkha, happiness, unhappiness. So hita hitam, sukham, dukkham, ayustasya hita hitam, what is good for life as such. Manancha tatcha yatroktam, Ayurveda sauchyate. So that is the definition of Ayurveda. So it is so deep that it talks about both sides of the coin. So we have to keep watching ourselves, observing what is the body asking for. Just not drive it through our hearts, but always drive it to the mind. But more so than the mind is our buddhi or the intellect.
I think we have one more relevant question, and I would like to take this. Does Shilajit boost male hormones, which helps in general fitness and muscle building and general well-being? I think, because of a lot of youth is taking Shilajit, and you mentioned Shilajit.
So Shilajit is something which can definitely improve male hormones, but it's a mineral. Okay, so it has to be taken in the best form. Shilajit is also made better bioavailable by bringing in polyherbal combinations. Just don't think that if you take a Shilajit tablet out of the shelf, it's going to just do something. We'll have to understand where is the problem, and definitely this can help people, especially at their fertility issues, men who have fertility issues. So there are many combinations, many therapies followed by combinations or polyherbal combinations would also work. So let's not just always think like this. I think we should.
So basically, you should not be taken over the counter. Yes. You should go to an Ayurvedic practitioner, talk about your problem, and then definitely consume it. So, ma'am, we have arrived to our closing statement. And thank you, viewers, for joining us. If you have any more questions, please, we are very happy to help you and answer. We have Dr. Vasudha and her team with us. Post your questions over here, over the channel, anywhere that you like. Follow us, and happy Navratri.
Happy Navratri.